right?
Yes, I do. Yep.
Yeah, so she's so savvy, she may not even need it, but I'll have her contact you if that is the case.
Sure. What I'll do actually for now is I'll just record this one, and then basically what I do is then upload it to YouTube as a private video, and then I'll share that link for the private video with you guys.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. So here we go. The first thing that you'll see here in the top is hours spent. This is essentially the number of administrative hours that we have spent, okay, servicing the ad program on visittucson.org. Okay. This doesn't have any, sales time to it. It's purely just ad sourcing, creative generation, invoicing and billing, everything that goes on in the back end.
Okay.
Okay. So now as we jump over to this next metric here, you can see that is revenue last month. So this is revenue directly tied, your direct revenue for the advertising on the website, right? So that's the amount that we would have sent you a check for last month if, in fact, we do send monthly checks. And I can check here really quick. Yep, and it looks like we pay you guys monthly. So
okay, and so that would be for December then?
Correct. Yep, because obviously we still have to finish today to be through Tucson, through January.
Yes, okay.
Okay. So then the next one you'll see here is revenue year to date and revenue last 12 months. So revenue year to date and the last 12 months at this point in time, because we're not through January, you're going to see essentially through December, and both of those represent a full year for 2016. Now, as we go into February, you'll see both of those numbers change. Now, revenue year to date is going to be essentially just 1 month of revenue, and then the revenue last 12 months is just essentially going to be February to January 2017.
Okay.
And then you can see here lifetime revenue generated and sent for the online ad program on visittucson.org is that number right there.
Okay, and that is even with the ad revenue that was sold on our previous site, right? In addition to
that's everything.
Right. Okay.
Cool.
That's good.
Yep. So then as we go down here to the next quadrant, you'll see revenue over the last 12 months and how it's varied, right?
Right.
Kind of come down, started to come back up, and you can see by month in each month how much revenue that we have sent directly to you guys. And every revenue number that you'll see within the portal is revenue directly to you, except for when we get to the statements tab here, we have what we call our quarterly report, and it shows for all of the active advertisers, it shows gross monthly revenue, okay? And so you'll just want to keep that in mind.
Okay.
Okay, so now as we jump down here to the placement type, we're going to see last month's revenue for all of the different placements, right? So if we look at featured listings, that represents almost 34% of monthly revenue, and if you hover over that little piece of the pie, you can see that that is exactly, or roughly $3,100 every month in revenue for that featured listing
placement. It's a little small, it's hard to see.
Yep, so here I can...
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Okay.
So then as we scroll over here, you can see what we are, calling the inventory report. And what that's showing is all of the different ad types that we have set up, ad types being a specific placement, okay? Mm-hmm. And this actually, even though it looks complete, like it's got a lot of information, sort of like we're in still our phase 1 beta phase, if you will. And so part of phase 2 is essentially going in and doing an accounting for every single one of our markets of inventory, and then tying that to our invoicing and billing system so that accurate real-time inventory can be shown here in the portal for you guys. So it's going to look something like this, but once we're done, it'll be 100% accurate. And essentially what it's going to show is by ad type, okay, or ad placement, how many max available placements that we have decided or we feel like is, the number of placements that we can reasonably sell for that placement on your website. How many of those have actually been sold or filled, and then what's the subsequent available inventory.
Okay, and that's a dynamic thing. I mean, as you sell them, then those numbers change.
Yep, as soon as within our, so the portal is the backbone of the portal is our invoicing and billing platform, okay? And so that will tie directly to all active subscriptions. So as soon as we add a new one, this will be updated. And as soon as we pull a new one, pull one down, this will be updated. This one might update twice a day. If it doesn't do it that often, for sure it's every single day.
Okay.
Okay. But that's essentially when we process any billing changes, this will be updated.
Gotcha.
And now what you don't see here in the inventory report that will be part of sort of that phase 2 is a fourth and fifth column. The fourth column will essentially show the rack rate for each one of those placements, right? So the value that we have on that particular placement, And then the fifth column will essentially be a product of available placements multiplied by the rack rate, and then that's essentially the outstanding revenue opportunity based on placements that aren't sold.
Okay.
Okay. So then, as we scroll down to the last thing here on the dashboard, we move a little bit, we move away from the revenue side of things, and now what we're seeing is over the last 6 months, how have impressions fluctuated, right? So, you can see by month total number of impressions, okay? And then here...
Explain impressions, that's on the website, right?
Sorry, say that again, please.
Explain what you mean by impressions. That has to do with, explain it to me a little bit, because I'm confused.
So an impression is based on all of the different ad units that we have deployed on your website, how many times that those ads are seen throughout the month, okay? That's what an impression is. And so
okay,
this
so
is
somebody actually clicks on the ad and that counts as an impression?
No, so they don't have to click on the ad to see an impression. It's just basically every time a page is loaded with an ad on there, we get an impression.
Okay.
A click is a click. It's not an impression. So
okay.
as we jump over here, so we're looking at click-through rate. So click-through rate is a ratio of clicks to impressions. So the number of clicks divided by the number of impressions gives us our click-through rate. Okay, you got to multiply it by 100. But our average across the entire network, which is about 150 DMO sites, is like a 0.43. And our and they say kind of the standard for digital display advertising throughout the interwebs is somewhere around like 0.1, I think was the last number. And so you can see right here that we are well above that in terms of clicks and click-through rate to your website or to your advertisers' websites. Okay. So then we'll scroll back up here and we'll go take a look at the advertiser tab. And I will qualify what we're looking at with, and I just dove into your account in the portal before getting on the call. And notice that here you can only see 20 advertisers, and that is actually not accurate. We have something more like twice that. And so I need to work with my technical team here to figure out what's going on and why that's not showing everybody.
Yeah.
What's weird is the revenue ties out. It's all good. I just think that there's something funky going on in the back end that is for some reason not showing the rest of those businesses. So just keep that in mind. Okay. So those revenue numbers that we just saw at the top of the dashboard and then the last 12 months, all those revenue numbers are exactly right, but for some reason we're just not seeing all the different advertiser accounts.
Right. Okay. So these numbers wouldn't add up to the revenue that is displayed on that prior page because they're not all showing here. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
And this is monthly recurring revenue directly to you guys. And I will say that, so the way we recognize revenue over time is basically a daily proration over time. So you couldn't necessarily tie this monthly recurring revenue number because it's it's a essentially rounded, even number directly to your revenue share, just because of the way we prorate the revenue over time. However, we have reports within the portal where you can do that, where you can reconcile all of your revenue share checks that were sent.
Oh, okay.
Okay. These are just gross numbers, how much, or not gross, but net numbers and how much the advertiser spends. Make sense?
Yeah, and that's per month?
This is per month, so monthly recurring revenue.
Okay, so Amtrak spends $40 a month?
They actually spend $100 a month, so this monthly recurring revenue is the net revenue to you.
Oh, to us. Oh, okay, I got it.
Okay. And then what you'll see here is their current contract start date and end date.
Okay.
Okay. And then what we can do is we can kind of jump in here, and here's what we'll go take a look at what you guys can see from an advertiser perspective. So if we go ahead and click on Biosphere 2, for example, and wait for it. So then what you're going to see is, over the last 12 months, how have their impressions and clicks fluctuated, okay? So I don't remember when we launched the new site. I think it was like in March or something. I can't remember, but you can see how impressions have wildly fluctuated over time,
right.
by month, and then you can also see how clicks have fluctuated over time by month.
And okay. Clicks are represented where on this chart? The green?
So you see this little green line with these little circles?
Yeah.
So if you hover over those little green lines, you can see like where that circle is. In March, Biosphere had over 1,000 clicks.
Okay, okay, for the month, yeah. Now, is any of this tied into their account in CRM?
The only thing that's tied into this from CRM is the benefit summary stuff. So like listing views and listing click-throughs.
Oh, okay. So not their rep. They couldn't log in and see how this is doing. Like if they logged in through the partner extranet.
So so eventually, okay, and it's not ready now. It'll probably be a phase 2 or phase 3 exercise. Is essentially when you're like, I don't know how much time you spend in CRM or whatever. You can hit that drop down and kind of you can jump back and forth maybe between CMS and the CRM and some of the other modules. The advertisers will have that same opportunity. So when they log into the extranet, there will be some kind of designation within the extranet. I'm not totally sure what it'll look like yet, where they can say, you know, view the DTN portal, view my online advertising exposure, something like that. It's my guess. And then they'll be able to, and we'll again go through what they can see in, you know, on their side of things when they log into the portal, but they will have access, obviously, to this information. And they should be able to access it through the extranet.
Okay. And but that's coming up at some point.
That's coming up. That's not available right now.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So as we jump over here to the next quadrant, we're going to see, you know, impressions and click-through rate over the last month, as an average over the last 12 months, and then lifetime impressions and clicks. Okay.
Okay.
And then the last thing we see here on this advertiser screen is essentially a function of, you know, how their contracts have changed over time. Okay. I will say that Biosphere 2 might have been contracted before, you know, February 2nd of 2016. But in certain cases, and we've been on the portal for longer, or I'm sorry, our invoicing and billing platform for, you know, significantly longer than February 2016. Right. But the point is, you know, we had basically everybody on our invoicing and billing platform like March of 2015. So really anything before that won't show in the portal because we don't have that information in our invoicing and billing platform.
Okay, it's saying it's showing 1 of 3 records.
Yep, so, yeah, and you can see the different contracts, right? The 3 different contracts.
Okay, gotcha, all right.
So essentially what this is showing us is, okay, these two particular contracts, okay, that they had at one point in time were actually renewed into one contract that started January 1. Okay, and you can also see that prior to that, they had basically a $371, contracted in monthly recurring revenue, and these were the ad placements that they had as part of their program.
Mm-hmm.
When they renewed, they had these placements in the program and actually increased their spend by about $30 a month.
Yeah. Okay, I see that.
Okay. So, and in terms of contract information, you will be able to see those contract details. The advertiser will not be able to. The only thing that the advertiser can see is actually only performance-related information at this point in time.
Okay.
Okay.
But they do get a copy of. They do get a copy of the contract when they sign it, right?
Of course, yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the contract. Well, I just had another question. Sorry. The contracts.
Sure.
Can they be month to month, or can they be like? Well, what are the terms of the contract as far as like if a partner wants to buy an ad?
So, yeah, good question. So what happens is, let's say, for example, this particular contract, let's say that was the only contract that they had up until this point. Okay. Once they hit the end of their contracted term, everything rolls month to month until they tell us to cancel it, or if we renew them into a new program.
Okay, but it should be only a year-long contract. Normally, when you sell it, rather than you couldn't just sell a month, like 3 months or something to a partner.
We can sell, basically the minimum is 1 month, and there's not really a maximum. We strive for every time that we sell a contract to get a 12-month agreement. That's not always the case. Sometimes we have seasonal contracts, seasonal advertisers that can only advertise for 3 or 4 months out of the year. So we have a little bit of flexibility in how long those terms will be or can be, but we always shoot for that 1-year agreement.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. So then as we step over, so that basically wraps up what you can see on the advertiser tab or within an advertiser account. Then what we'll go do is take a look at the statements tab. And what this is an accounting of quarterly reports, okay, that show revenue and performance information, similar to how you saw it on the dashboard in some sense, right? So if we dive in to look at Q4 2016, we'll go through all of the different details that the quarterly report shows you. Just gotta wait for it.
Is this one that Vicki Doyle normally sends?
Yes. Yep. Exactly the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So this is really interesting, right? So here's a list of all your current advertisers. Now, I wonder if it's not showing the ones that are month to month. But you can see here, there's obviously more than 20. There's way more than 20. This is all of the current advertisers that we have, right? So advertiser name, contracted start date and end date, their monthly recurring revenue. Now, this is the only place, okay, here where it's not called out that it's gross monthly recurring revenue. So you'll just have to keep that in mind, okay?
Okay.
Down here, we'll see another situation where it actually calls it out. But up here in the active contracts, this is gross monthly recurring revenue.
Okay. Now,
so then you'll see
this also Vamos, the Vamos site as well?
So the Vamos site as well is in here, and you'll see which advertisers are Vamos advertisers. It'll say the advertiser name here, and then Vamos right beside it.
Okay, I see.
Okay. So then you'll see the months remaining on their contract. And hang on a second. So months remaining on their current contract, and then what is that subsequent total contract value remaining? Okay. So obviously these guys that are month to month, they don't have, they're outside of their term, so there is no total contract value remaining.
Okay.
Okay. So then as you scroll down, if let's say we stopped selling today and all we did was service the remaining contracts, this is how much revenue we would expect to collect in gross through the end of each one of those contracted terms.
Okay.
Okay. So then as we scroll down, and this is where I was talking about being able to see the revenue recognition. Okay. So this is revenue for Q4 2016. So this is going to show DTN, DMO, and gross revenue, and how that and how that breaks out for each advertiser. So let's say you got paid on a quarterly basis versus monthly, and I'll show you how you can get this information monthly. But let's say you were paid out every quarter, and you wanted to be able to reconcile that payment every quarter. You could come in here to your quarterly report. You'll see all the advertisers, all the different breakdowns of revenue, and then if you got a quarterly check, it would match this, 24,856.74.
Okay.
And that would be a reconciliation of that check.
So that amount there that you just quoted was actually what we received in the last quarter of 2016?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And then the next line here, which is almost easily skipped over, is actually total revenue to you in 2016, which is this number here.
Are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, something happened on my screen here.
Can you are you not able to see my screen anymore?
You know, I've got it. I was trying to minimize the little go to meeting box, and I don't see where I can, and so when I did that, it took your screen away.
Okay, so in the go to meeting box, right next to the X, there's two arrows sort of pointing to each other.
Oh, there it is. Shrink controls.
Yep. So if you just click that, you should be okay.
Okay, fine, because it was covering up part of these numbers. So okay, gotcha.
Yep. Totally get it. So perfect. So that's all your revenue for 2016, okay?
Okay.
So then what we're going to see here now, again, as we step away from the ad revenue side of things and we go into the performance, we're going to see by ad type, okay? And you can see it's different for Vamos. Impressions, clicks, and click-through rate. Now, these first set of three are for the entire year of 2016. And then as we step to the next set of three, average monthly impressions, clicks, and click-through rate is the average over those 12 months. Make sense?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So that's exactly the same quarterly report that Vicki would have been sending over every quarter.
Okay. And now this is available every time we log in.
This will be available every time you log in once we've finished a quarter.
Yes. Oh, okay. Right. So it just so you can't really see any change on a daily basis.
Not when you're looking at the quarterly stuff. Nope.
No.
But so we'll jump to the next tab here, which is reports, and now you can see a performance detail or a revenue detail for any time frame that you want. Okay, so if we jump into ad performance, let's say your fiscal year was November. Let's see, let's go back to 20. Yeah, that's right, 2015. So it's November to October. So November 15 to October 16. Now you can refresh, and you're now only seeing ad stats for that particular time frame.
Okay.
Okay. And similarly, if we back out of there and go look at the revenue detail, now you're seeing that same revenue detail for that same time frame, right? So we're changing to November, changing to October, hit refresh. And so if that was your fiscal year, you could come down here, here's our reconciliation, and here's how much revenue we received for the advertising on visittucson.org.
Okay.
Okay. And so now that takes us basically through all of the tabs that you have, the information that you have available to you, okay? Right. I will say, since we're in this kind of beta phase one, if you will, soft launch, as you and other members of your team are in the portal, we would super appreciate any kind of feedback, constructive or otherwise,
Right.
so that we can make this a very well-rounded tool for all of our DMOs. I can't say that if any request you make is going to absolutely be built in the portal. I think that would be not being fair or truthful. But what we will do is if once we have all of this launched to all of our DMOs and they've sent us a bunch of comments back, we'll sort of take all of those comments, put them in a Venn diagram, if you will, and then where all those circles overlap, all of those items that are in that overlapped area, right, we will do our best to make that part of the portal, because we feel that that compilation and where all of the overlap is really what we need to do to make this as useful tool as it can be for you guys.
Okay, great. That's good to know. I'm sure that once we have the people that in our office, and there might be 3 or 4 of us that are interested in seeing this information, or maybe more. Then we'll get together after we've reviewed this, and if we have any comments, we'll do it jointly. So you want us to do that via email, or is there a way to do it through the portal?
Yeah, there's not any way to do it in the portal at this point. That's a good question. Just via email would be best.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll review it, and then as we go along, if anybody has any questions, we'll compile everything and then send it over to you. Should we send it to you, or?
Yep. Me, okay. And you could CC Vicky.
Okay. Okay, that would be great.
Okay. Perfect. We'd really appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay. So then what I'm going to do now is show you really quickly what the advertiser can see. Okay. So if Biosphere 2 logged in, again, we'll go through the tabs, and like a book, left to right, top to bottom. Okay. So average impressions for the entirety of their campaign, or I'm sorry, over the last 12 months, is the average number of impressions every month that Biosphere 2 has received, and then average clicks and click-through rate.
So 2.75%, is that good or bad? Or average? I mean,
that is, well, let's see here.
For an ad.
It's I was going to try and put a percentage to it, but I'm not going to do that. It is fantastic. 2.75% is out of this world.
Huh.
It's very good.
Okay.
Like I said, the average for digital display, digital advertising basically is like 0.1.
0.4? And
it's hard to, 0.1.
Wow.
So 1/10%. And it's a little kind of apples to oranges comparison, because it's not the same on every site, and it's almost an apples to oranges comparison when we look at so the DTN average click-through rate, okay, for our entire ad network is 0.43% or something like that. So even then, it's well above the average. Okay. And then how do you determine
from people clicking on an ad and actually buying something or taking advantage of whatever that ad offers? What is that?
Yeah, so that's called conversion tracking, and that's not really, we don't really do that. The reason we don't, and our ad server is capable of tracking it, the reason we don't, though, is because if we do conversion tracking, we have to have separate tags for that on all of our websites, in all of the placements, and then the advertiser, okay, would also have to have like an online booking engine, which I would say like most of them do not, some of them do. And then they would have to put that same conversion tag, that matching conversion tag that we have on our website, on their website.
Oh, gotcha.
And so it could fire like when you get a thank you for purchasing page or something like that. It's just a complexity, a level of complexity that we haven't really figured out a way to efficiently do without having to involve like an advertiser's developer. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's just it's a and then for a lot of the hoteliers or whatever, right? Like like the Holiday Inns or the Hiltons or whatever, they probably have some kind of company-wide but specific to that business or that property booking engine that they use, and there's these larger companies like the Hiltons and the Holiday Inns or whatever it might be, there's no way they're going to let us put tracking code or conversion tracking code on their booking engine. That's just, you know.
But
so,
there's got to be a way that, you know, if they're buying an ad from you on our website, and let's say it's some kind of a discount or whatever, they have to be able to track that they saw that ad on our website, right? Is that done through their website?
I'm sorry, say that again, that last part?
Is that done through the metrics on their website, or is it verbal? Or?
Yeah, it's usually probably a verbal thing, unless they had some, you know, sophisticated level of, like, if they do have a booking widget, or you know, the ability to purchase their product on their website. They might be able to have, like, a, you know, enter your promo code or something like that, and then be able to track that. But it would totally be on the advertiser and how they would run their business. Most of them would be like, oh, can you just let us know if you heard about this from visittucson.org?
Right. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So then as we dive down here, you can see the delivery summary, right? So this is, again, by ad type. Views, so views are impressions, okay? And then for the current month, which we're in January, so this represents, and we're almost done with January, so this represents essentially a full month, okay? And then total impressions across our entire campaign, you know, since it started to today. And then similar with clicks and click-through rate. Now, I will say that if an advertiser comes in and logs in on the 3rd, these numbers, it's going to just show you February numbers, so it's only going to show you numbers for 3 days in the month. Okay.
Now, I have a question. What does additional exposure mean?
That's a great question. What additional exposure is we actually have, in a lot of instances on most of our DMO websites, 2, okay, run-of-site placements. So run-of-site meaning on every or virtually every page. Okay, so we have a run-of-site banner and we have a run-of-site spotlight. And typically in those run-of-site positions, again, it's dependent on site traffic, but in most instances, we are actually not sold out in our run-of-site placements. In fact, we're probably far from it, right? So there's a lot more traffic than actually what's been purchased. So an advertiser usually will purchase, you know, a specific number of impressions over the entirety of their campaign in both of those placements. So when we set up and source their advertising campaign, we basically tell our ad server, okay, they purchase 10,000 impressions a month in the run-of-site banner. So fulfill that before you do anything else, right? And so all of our advertisers that are in the run-of-site banner have something similar. So then everybody gets their guaranteed set of impressions, right? Let's say that's 100,000. Impressions in a month, but the website in the run-of-site banner actually gets 300,000 impressions, let's say, in a month. We have a disparity of what's sold versus what's available of 200,000 impressions. And so rather than serving no ad, right, or a house ad, we've always subscribed to the attitude that we want to give that extra exposure or additional exposure to the advertisers. So what happens is after everybody splits what the contracted, or I'm sorry, after everybody gets what they've contracted, okay, in a month, then what happens is everybody is dropped into like a bucket where everybody evenly splits the remaining unsold impressions, and that's what additional exposure is.
Okay.
And so from the additional exposure, right, they got in the entirety of their campaign 32,000 impressions, okay? And then if you jump over here, the additional exposure of the entirety of their campaign yielded 154 clicks.
Right, I see that. Okay.
Okay. And so that's, again, that's just a pie representation of, you know, the piece of the pie that these ad placement views and clicks get.
Okay. Makes sense.
So and then the last 2 graphs here are bar graphs, okay? And they just show by month impressions and clicks.
Okay.
Okay. And so then that's what they can see on their dashboard.
Okay.
Now as we step over to the Statements tab, now what we can do is essentially show what we just saw on the dashboard, but for whatever month we want to choose, right? So let's say we want to look at August 2016. Now again, we're seeing that same dashboard view, same elements, but for a different month. So you're going to see, you know, that month's impressions and clicks, and then totals as of August 2016.
Okay.
So then that's what's on the Statements tab. Then let's say an advertiser's like, well, wait, I need to be able to look at this every 6 months, okay? And so through the dashboard and the Statements tab, we can't really do that super easy in one report, right? They could come in here and say, okay, I want 6 months, and then have 6 pieces of paper that show 6 months, or they could come here to the Reports tab.
Okay.
And similar to what we just did on your side of things, is come in here and do a delivery detail, which is essentially, you know, in whatever time frame we want. Let's say January 2016 to June, because they look at it every half year. Hit refresh. Now they're seeing impressions, clicks, and click-through rate over that time.
Okay. That's good. And do you have any idea how many of your advertisers actually log in? I mean, do you have a login log or whatever?
So that's a good question. I don't think we have a log, but I'm going to actually take a note of that.
Just so you can see, I mean, you know, as an advertiser, I would want to be in here to see how the performance is, you know, on probably more often than every 6 months.
Yeah. I'm just taking that note.
Okay.
So we don't, and I will say too, in this soft launch, phase 1 launch, we are actually only giving access to you as a publisher, okay? We want you guys to be as comfortable in it as we are. We want it to be a full solution, and then once you're comfortable, right, then we'll reach out to all the advertisers and get them set up with access to it.
Oh, so they don't even have access yet?
They do not have access yet, nope.
Oh, okay, because this is a soft launch. Okay, gotcha.
Yep, yep. So, which is all good, right? And so that's that, right? We're going to let you guys get comfortable, and then we're going to reach out to the advertisers and let them know. Adoption rate, we'll see. It's hard to say. Not totally sure, but I will say that's, you know, similar to you guys and us. They will just log into portal.destinationtravelnetwork.com, and the credentials that they'll use to log in are actually their extranet login credentials, so they don't have to remember another username and password.
Yes. Okay. Good.
Okay.
And right now they're getting a printed report every so often?
I can't say that for 100% certainty. I would say that some of the bigger advertisers that do check it every month or however often, we hand deliver them reports. But we are not hand delivering reports to all of our advertisers. That's one of the main reason, if not the main reason, that we built this particular, you know, portal.
Yeah, exactly.
So that everybody can have real-time access.
That's wonderful.
Yep. So with that said, we've kind of run through what the advertiser can see. We've run through what you can see. And do you have any other questions that we might be able to answer while we're on the phone?
No, not right now. You know, I'll want to just kind of get in here with maybe a couple other staff people when they go through it, and just see if we collectively have anything, and then we'll let you know. But it's very, very straightforward, easy to read.
Yep. Okay, let me
so
see here. All right, so what I just did is I just set you up as a user for the portal. Okay, and if you want to go to portal.destinationtravelnetwork.com and use your CRM login credentials to try and log in, I want to make sure that you can get in before we hang up the call.
Alrighty. Okay, let me get the username. My username is my email address, I think, yeah. And this is the, not the extranet, but the normal CRM login, right?
That's correct.
Because I have 2 different passwords, so I got to make sure I get the right one here. Okay, I'm in.
Awesome. So is there anybody offhand that you know would like to have access to this information right away?
Yes, Hope Patterson and Deborah Du Bois. Do you have their email
I've
address?
got Hope for sure, and I've got Deborah's as well. So both of them also now have access to the portal, and they can log in. And I'm looking here at, now that you say that, at the, where I can add users, and I do see that the last login for you was today.
Oh yeah, I'm in here constantly. I mean, as far as, you're talking about the portal or CRM?
I'm talking about the portal. So to answer the question that
oh yes, logging
the
in.
login log, yeah, and we have that for users and for publishers. We just don't know, we just see the last time that they logged in.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's helpful because yeah, we pretty much, I mean, through CRM can see that with the partner extranet for our partners and their, when they've logged in and that kind of thing. So,
yep.
All right.
Cool.
So yeah, I'll. One other person who might be interested in this is Joseph Hauge.
Okay, let me see here.
And he's our partner. He partner sales, so it would be important for him to kind of get the whole picture of this when he's selling partnerships.
Perfect.
And then I think that should be it for now. And I don't know, I'll see who else may in the future may want to have a login.
Okay. Sounds good. So then what I'll do, Lori, is I'll download this recording from GoToMeeting. I'll put it on YouTube as a private video, and then I'll share it with you. And then if you don't mind just kind of distributing that to everybody, and just so you can give them some context of what it is and what it means.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much, Tyler. This has been very helpful. And
awesome.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, awesome. I'm glad you like it. It's super helpful for us. Pretty much everything you see in here that's automated and in the portal was a manual process for us in the past. I used to be a one-man show back in the day. Now I've got a team, but all of this stuff was manually done, which we really didn't, because of its manual aspect to it. We couldn't do all of this, and now we can. And so when I first saw this, yeah, I probably shed a little bit of a tear. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just so awesome.
Really, I can imagine. I know I did a lot of stuff manually up until we got with SimpleView, however many years ago, 15, 16 years ago. And so, yeah, it's wonderful. And I appreciate your time and assistance, and I'll be looking forward to logging in the future and checking things out.
Certainly. Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate your time. And remember that when you're in there and getting dirty, if you will, let us know. Give us any kind of suggestions and improvements. We'd love to hear from you.
Definitely will do that, Tyler. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
My pleasure. You as well. Take care.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.